This is the application for the Reolink TrackFlex Floodlight. Here we can see on the main Reolink homepage here, breaks it down into each of the individual camera feeds. We have a quick toggle for our settings, but we're going to click into it to open things up so that we can see what's going on. And you'll notice how quickly that loads up. Because this is a powered solution, you're going to get results and things much faster. Now, some of these might be tricky to see, but we're going to try and talk about all of them along the top here. Sadly, it is during my winter months, so it's a little white out. Over here in the upper left-hand corner, this will have your camera name, your camera's bitrate. As we move over to the right, this icon here, this is to set off your alarm. If you tap on this, you will get this, which will allow you to then press it and set off your alarm. I like that Reolink gives you an extra step to set off your alarm, just in case you happen to be doing it by accident. To the right of the alarm is the torch or flashlight. If I select this, it will turn on the lights outside, but you can also see that there's a blue hue in front of the torch, letting you know that it's on. They are completely adjustable from brightness and color temperature, so we'll discuss that a little later. To the right of our torch, we have single view versus multi-view. Now, I want you to notice that when you select your single view as to which camera it picks. Now, it is picking the wider field of view, and you can tell that because it says TrackFlex Floodlight -1. That's indicating that it is my primary camera. If I do this, we can now see 2 and 1, just to give you an idea of what happens when you go into that single view. To the right of that is our settings. We'll talk about that momentarily. Next to our settings, we've got our day-night mode. Right now I have it on auto, which will switch between the two based on available lighting. We have black and white mode, which will keep it in night mode all the time. And then we have color mode, which will put it into black and white mode, but not use the IR lights or use the LEDs. Coming down, we have, and again, tricky to see in the bushes there, that is a pause. So if you wish to stop your live feed, you can do that right there. You see the live feeds back up because the bushes are moving. Next to that, we have our audio. Then we have a camera icon. This camera icon will allow you to take a still of whatever happens to be going on in both the camera feeds, which is important. We'll touch on that a little later. To the right of our camera, again, tricky to see. This is a camera icon or video icon, which will record in real time anything that's happening in the live feed. So if there was motion going through, I would be capturing that right now. There you go. It's going to save both those video feeds. To the right of that, much easier to see on my blacktop here, high, which is clear and fluent. This is the high video settings versus the low video settings. This is the one place that I knock Reolink for using odd language, but this will be your 4K versus your not 4K. Next to that, we have our full screen mode. If I select this, you could see we get a side-by-side for the full screen mode, as well as our controls are moved over here to the side. We can shrink this down, and I'll show you what happens if I do that on our single view. Here we go, full screen. Takes up much more of the real estate because you only have one camera to deal with. However, if you're getting something like this, you're getting it for that dual camera view. To zoom in on the TrackFlex on either one of these, you do have to pinch to zoom. There we go. So there is your zoom with the wide field of view, and then we'll come in here and zoom in there. That is a Connecticut plate. I could tell that in both of these. I could kind of make out letters there, but this is probably a rental car for somebody in the neighborhood, and I don't want to actually show that in the video. And then double tap it will pull the zoom back out. As we make our way down, we have 3 icons along the bottom. First is our talk icon. If I select this, I can tap to talk, and now the people outside can hear me. I'm going to turn that off because there actually are a lot of people around today, so I don't want them wondering why my garage is talking to them. To the right of our talk, we have our PTZ controls. Now, this is, as you might imagine, simple up, down, left, and right, but you can either tap like that, but I'm already at the maximum, so maybe if I tap down, it'll make more sense. You'll see the camera move, but we can also drag it down or to the right as a joystick. So you don't just have to tap, you can manually move it around by dragging, and then we'll put it all the way back to where it was. And the one thing I wish that it had was a indicator letting you know, hey, you've reached the maximum of what the camera's capability was. I've tested a couple others that let you know with like a blue hue or red hue saying, hey, this is as far as you can go. But just under our control pad, you'll notice speed. I can select this and adjust plus or minus in increments of 1 how fast I want the pan tilt to go, which I really like the fact that it's right there and I don't have to go digging to try and find that. To the right of our pan tilt controls, we have our motion points. Right now, this is the set point where it will return to 0 after it tracks somebody. I reset this point so that it makes a little more sense. You saw what the image was before, which is what we're looking at now. If I hit reset, that tells it this is now the true center point. This is where you'll return back to. Now, to express this, if I come over to the side of my house again, and then come back here, I can select return to motion point, which will have the camera come back around. We have the ability to reset our monitor point, which is very similar to what I did up there. Auto return to motion point, on or off, and then interval in seconds. So how long after it's tracked something does it come back to this original set point? That's all under our motion point. To the right of that, we have our presets. Now, right now I do have one preset. If I wanted to set another one, I would come over here and I would move this to where I want it. So we'll say hypothetically here, come back to my presets, select the plus sign, add a name, hit confirm, and now I have spot number 2, which will allow me to quickly toggle between 2 points. We can delete them, we can edit them if we want, and we can add more. I can also come back to my motion point and say, go back to my preset right there. To the right of our preset points, we have our calibration mode. This will move the camera through its calibration, bringing it to its true center point. And here you can see it's going to go left to right. It's going to go all the way back and then up and down. And then it has calibrated itself. And then we have our X, which will bring us out of our PTZ controls. To the right of our PTZ, we have our playback. We'll give that a second to load because there is a lot of information this is looking through, because I happen to have this on the front of my house where there's a lot of things that happen. And you can kind of see that down here. Up at the top, we're going to talk about a few things really quick. We have search. I'll touch on that in a moment. We have our ability to speed up or slow down. So we can go as fast as 16 times or as slow as 0.25. We can delete and we can download things right from here. And that's the clip that we happen to be on right now. Now, coming back to the search. This is Reolink's advanced search mode, which will allow you to look for specific things. So I can search for a person and a time range, and then I could say person with red clothing. In this case, I can search for a deer, and we'll see if that'll actually bring it up, because I have had deer walk through my front yard. And here we go. We could see it's bringing up the pet icon, and this is filling me with hope, because if I select one of these, this is generally the path that the deer move through. And there you can see there is a deer that the camera was able to catch. Now, if I wanted to look for something else, I was out there before doing some tests and I was wearing a camo jacket. Let's see if that will actually pick it up. I apparently need to change it to a person. Now we'll have it search. And that is me with a camouflage jacket out. So that is pretty good. We're going to do another test because it could just be looking for a person. So we're going to do person walking a dog and have it search for that, because I don't have a dog and I do have people that walk dogs in front of my house. So right now this is showing persons, but this is mostly just me walking out front, although this might be a person walking a dog. All right, it's a person walking, not necessarily walking a dog. But even though this, I feel, requires a little more fine tuning, it's still really good instead of having to just scrub through video, which can be a bit of a pain. Speaking of our video, if we come right here, just like we had on our live feed, we have a play pause, we have a volume, we can take a snapshot, we can take a recording, we can change high versus low for the video feed. Make sure you change this, because if you don't, you're going to download low res video, even if your camera is taking high res video. And then we have full screen. Now, each of these lines that you might see across here, these white dashes, indicate this is an action that it happened to pick up. So if I scrub over to one, that's a vehicle, that's motion, that's the alarm being set off. Motion, that's a car, that's the alarm again. And I'll show you on a different track for persons and pets, things of that nature. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come down to our timeline here, which we can change the view by selecting the dashes over here. So this is more of a grid style versus the timeline. We can select our date. If I select this, you can see anything that has the white is going to indicate that has a recording. And if we come back, you could see I've got a recording there. I can select confirm. And this is basically when I was doing just motion, because this can do 24/7 recording. I'm going to select my filter and say, just show me persons, just show me animals, and then select confirm. This is now going to limit my timeline to just people or pets. So here I go. I will select this, and this will bring up a pet. So there's a dog right there with a person walking, but we can scrub through our timeline here. If I select another one, there's a cat that ran through frame real quick, but this will help make it much easier to find things if you use your filtering. But just like I mentioned before, that white dash right there, there's a person, and if there was a pet, it would show it there as well. But that is our timeline view here. I'm going to pause that because we're going to come up to our download because I want to show you what that looks like. It's going to load both of your camera feeds. You can shrink down the clip size. So if you have a minute-long clip and you only need 11 seconds, you can move your sizing handles and then select download. Now, do notice that even though the trigger is showing for both of them at the same time, each of these is counted as a separate video feed. So you will have two separate video files, which, as I've tested cameras like this, I appreciate the separate video feeds more than I do having it stitched together. But that has been everything that we can do for the camera controls. Let's move on to settings. Coming up to the sprocket icon that we skipped before, this is going to be the settings for our camera. Starting here at the top, we have information that if I tap on that, kind of sensitive, won't be showing you that, but it's the name, firmware, all that. It also shows you at a glance the usage of your SD card, and then if it's connected via Wi-Fi or not. Coming down, we have our Wi-Fi credentials. So if you ever need to change your Wi-Fi network, this is where you would do that. Next, under that, we have display. If I select this, there's a lot of things that we can do here, but notice it's only going to show us for the top camera. So whatever we do to the top camera will also happen to the secondary bottom camera. So we can flip this vertically. So if you happen to mount this differently, you can change that. We can also flip horizontally. So the cars being on the right, now the cars will be on the left. Coming down, we have stream. This is going to be your stream quality. So this is the high versus low or clear versus fluent. If we select one of these, we can make changes to some of this, such as our frame rate. Right now, we're at the default of 20, but we can lower our frame rate. Likewise, we can adjust our bit rate. So this is our default. We can minimize that or lower it. And if you make any changes, just make sure to hit save. We have a specific just for our frame rate for both of them, as well as our bit rate. So variable or continuous, which will allow it to adjust if needed or just have a flat bit rate. That's all under our stream. We have motion mask. If you turn this on, you can kind of see right now it's already doing it. If it detects motion, it will put a blue box around something. This is the one problem I have with it. It was motion masking cars even though they weren't moving. And since I have this in my driveway, it was showing two things around cars, which was a little less useful for me. But data point just for you to be aware of. We have our camera name, where it's located, top, bottom, left. You have lots of options as well as hiding it. You have your logo watermark, which is the Reolink. You could turn that on or off. Notice that I do have the date hidden, which you can, just like with anything else, select its location. We have our image settings. From here, we can adjust the brightness. So let's say right now, because I'm in my winter months, there's a lot of snow out there. If I want to lower the brightness, I can do that to kind of offset some of that. But right there, you can say I offset it way too much. Car going through view. We're going to put that back to what it was at, which was the default, which was about 128. There we go. Anti-flicker. You can change this between 50, 60, off, or other. What that is LED lights. It's most noticeable with cars or lighting. Just know by default, it should be set for your region. Under that, we have day-night mode. So we have switch mode. Auto, again, based on that light, lighting outside. Color constantly stays in day mode. Black and white constantly stays in black and white mode. And then we have our black and white cut over threshold. So we can actually adjust how dark or how light it is before it makes that transition to the other mode. I really like that Reolink gives you that option. Not a lot of other manufacturers do. Here we have color day, black and white, and color night mode. What this is, if I leave it on auto, it'll automatically make changes, but we have the ability to change highlights, brightness, shadows, all for individual things, such as the color, the black and white, and the color night mode. I like that this is there. I wish they had a preview so that I could see what I was doing. That was all under our day-night mode. Coming down, we have our privacy mask. This will allow us to create a do not look at area. Now notice we have two different cameras. We have the wide angle and we have the tracking. So we can set this up for each of them. So let's say right now that right there, I don't want on that one. I can come over here and I'm just gonna block that out on the tracking one, and I'm gonna hit save. And it's gonna save them for both. So now what happens for the privacy mode in the live feed, in recordings, you're not gonna be able to see that because that's there. The one problem with this on a pan tilt camera is if I come over here and I move the camera, those are fixed in place. They're not covering the cars, they're covering a specific area on the video. So they're not as useful for something that's moving around. Just keep that in mind if the camera's going to be moving around a lot. That was all under our display. We still have more to go through. Coming down, we have our sound. We have record audio. By default, this is off. So if you want to record audio in your video, make sure to come in here and turn that on. You have your sound test, which is kind of the audio that you have from the camera. You can test it to see how loud it is. And then we have noise reduction, which is really nice. It uses AI to kind of get some of that background noise out, which actually it does a very good job with. Next, we have our light. We have LED status light, close or enabled. This is on and off. Again, wish it was labeled a little differently, but it is what it is. We have floodlight. Right now I have it on close, which means the floodlight stays off unless it detects motion. Auto mode automatically adapts the brightness based on the ambient light. So that's going to have it go on all the time based on how dark it is. Always on at night, meaning the floodlight will just turn on when it's dark out. And then you have timer mode, which will let you set start time and end time for having the LEDs on. You also have a brightness slider as well as a color temperature slider. So do you want a warmer light versus a cooler light? Again, Reolink is all about customization. Coming down, we have infrared light, which is on or off. So auto, it just turns itself on when it gets dark out. Moving on, we have detection alarm. This is one of the things that Reolink does differently. It has a non-detection zone, which might be a little tricky to see, but I grayed it out across the top there. But I can paint right there. Might be a little easier to notice. So you can paint a zone, you can erase by hand, you can select erase all, you can paint all, lots of options. And again, this is for do not detect or notify me in this area. Moving on, we have sensitivity, motion sensitivity. It allows you to change just how sensitive it is. And I could say at testing it at 41, it has been pretty good. You also have add a sensitivity schedule. So start time, end time, and then during that time, you could select how sensitive you want it to be. If you don't want to have it all the time at high, that's really cool if you need to have more sensitivity overnight maybe than you do during the day because you're around. Smart detection, well, this allows you to set individual sensitivity for people, vehicles, and animals. Because I'm on an active street, I've lowered my vehicle sensitivity. Alarm delay, well, this will allow you to, if you have an alarm set, delay how quickly it goes off. So like for a car, I want to give them a chance to get out of there. For an animal, I also want to give them a chance, but for a person, no, set that alarm off immediately. Object size, this could be very useful, especially if you're dealing with vehicles. So you can set this for person, vehicle, and animal, and then you set a minimum or a maximum object size. So to explain this, for an animal, we have minimum object size. So if I bring this into frame here, I could say it needs to be at minimum this big before you notify me. So that's about a cat, and then I'll get a notice. So squirrels, not so much. Maximum size says, don't tell me if it's any bigger than this. And this would be useful for specific cars. If you get a lot of semi-trucks, you don't want to see that. You could say anything bigger than that, you're not going to get notified of. And then you could delete them, and you could even set up several of them. Moving down, we have out of view detection. So you can turn this on or off, and this is going to use the sensors along the side, and then you could set left, middle, and right how sensitive you want them to be for it to detect something that's out of the camera's view. Now this is something I really like, and I did test over here. I walked up and the camera snapped to me even though it couldn't see me because of these out of view detection. So this is a great feature that the TrackFlex has. Auto tracking, on or off, that's gonna follow things like tracking type. In my case, I have person and animal, and then you could set vehicle. Again, I'm on a busy road. I don't necessarily want that to track vehicles. But then here, this is something that I really appreciate, and that is the fact that it's tracking priority. If a person and an animal are in frame, who's getting tracked first? And in my case, I care about the person over the animal. I really think other manufacturers are going to learn from this because this is gold in my opinion. Moving down, we have tracking method. You have digital tracking first, or pan tilt tracking first. So what this means is, one, digital tracking, it won't move the camera around, it will just follow them digitally. Digital tracking first means it digitally follows them until it can't, and then it moves the camera. Pan tilt first means, well, it's gonna start moving the camera around right away to better lock on to them. Play with this, figure out which one works best for you. Based on where I have mine, digital first works okay, and then I have it pan to follow them. Horizontal tracking range. This will allow you to set a furthest most point, and that's gonna be left or right. And you can see I've set that already because after this, it's just gonna record my wall, and then after that, it's just gonna record the front of my garage. You can go into settings, and then notice at the top, it says left. You would set it, and then confirm, and then it would do right. And then you can confirm. You can also clear this if you already have things set up like I do. And then down here, under that, we have our schedule. And right now, I just have it enabled all the time, which I don't know why you wouldn't. But if you don't want it to track, you could set up a don't track during. All right, here we have time to stop tracking. So object stops, I say 30 seconds, and then it will stop tracking. Object disappears, 20 seconds for me. You could do 10 up to 60, then it stops tracking. That's all under our detection and alarms. Moving on, we have camera recording. You turn that on or off. You have your motion record schedule. If you come in here, you have the ability to change your detection type. So what do you want it to do? For me, I just want people and animals, and then record all the time. You can erase all, you can make edits here. Just make sure to set up your motion recording. Post-recording duration, 15, 30, or a minute. That means once movement has stopped, how long will it keep recording for? And then we have our continuous recording schedule. If you want this to record 24/7, come in here, set it up. Highly recommend, since this is a powered device, as long as you have a large enough SD card in there, there's no reason not to have 24/7 recording, which based on where I have it, I really wanted 24/7 recording. Coming down, we have push notification. Right now I have this turned off, but you can turn this on. And once it's turned on, you can set your device ringtone. You can set a schedule. This is important because again, you can set your detection type. So, hey, I only want to be notified of a person or an animal, or maybe I care about a vehicle that comes into the front of my yard. You have the ability to set your individual preferences, which I greatly appreciate. You have your snooze alerts. This I also appreciate. If I'm out there, not right now, well, maybe now, shoveling, I can snooze my alerts for a minimum of 30 minutes up to 24 hours so I don't constantly get bombarded while I'm out there shoveling my snow. And then push notification interval, 20 seconds up to 120. I really wish Reolink would let you go lower. Right now, 20 is the minimum. 10 or 5, I wish they let you do. Personal opinion. Coming down, we have email alerts. If you want to get alerts sent to your email instead of sent to your phone, you could set this up and have them emailed to you. FTP, right now I have this turned off, but if you know what FTP is, you can turn it on and set it up so that you can utilize FTP with the camera. If you don't know what it is, probably stay out of there. Light alert, well, here we go. What will it do? Turn the spotlight on. When it detects, in my case, a person, don't care about animals, out of view events, which is again, that detection to the sides or in the front if it's not seen by the camera. This is really good like that. You can set what it's going to detect for and then what it's going to do. Continuous flashing or stay on, and then for how long. So 30 seconds up to 15 minutes. And then the brightness level. Under our light alert, we have our siren. You can turn this on or off. You have your siren sound. You have default, or you could do a custom sound, which if you select here, you could start talking and this will be your custom sound outside. Notice how long it gives you. It's about 5 seconds. Once you do that, you can apply or you can test the sound, which would put it outside, or you could re-record it. Again, I have a lot of people around right now, so I don't want to do that to them. You have a schedule, so if there's a specific time that you wish this to happen during, and then what events do you wish this to have? Again, Reolink gives you a level of customization unseen in other consumer-based applications, which I really enjoy. Linked devices, I don't have any, but you could press the plus sign up there and then set up a linked device for this camera. Coming down, we can also share this device by adding another user. And again, customization is key. You can allow this user to have management controls of this camera or only view the camera. You could set an authorization timeline as well as a remark. And then you could generate an authorization code to send them. So security, 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 and customization. Time lapse, giving you a couple of presets here for event, people, traffic, moving clouds, sunrise, sunset, construction, blooming, or you can customize it where you could set the start of the capture, the duration, the interval, the quality. Again, make sure you set that for the high, which is the clear, and then file type. If you're doing something like time lapse, make sure to do a video file. If you do photos, you're gonna have to stitch those together on your own. Under that, we have file encryption. If you turn this on, it's going to ask you for the authentication code, which is the code that you set up with the camera. And that will make it so that even if the camera or the SD card is taken, people won't be able to access it unless it's in the camera and it has that decrypt code. Under that, we have advanced, which will allow you to turn on or off your illegal lockout. You can change the device password. You can set your date and time. You can reboot your camera. You can restore your camera, which will restore it to factory. And if we come down, we have installation method, United States or Canada or other. So you could select, this is what I'm doing. I'm either doing a wall or a ceiling. And if you select it, it's going to walk you through all the steps. Under that, we have log out a device and then delete this device. And that has been everything that we can do for the Reolink TrackFlex Floodlight in the Reolink app.